What's up, geeks, gamers, and capsuleers? My name is Drementfh, and welcome back to Thorium Gaming, and we got another Eve video coming up. A buddy of mine in the Atreen project has asked a question, and showing a video is a far easier way than simply typing to explain it, so it's probably better that we do it this way. Just make things clear, and since I have to send off a couple of contracts anyway, this video is going to be on contracting, hence the title. And we're going to go through both ways to set up individual item transfer contracts, and I'll explain a little bit about courier contracts while we're in there. Before we jump into it though, and before I go over the skills and everything that will help out with this, again, my skills aren't perfect, and none of this information is completely in-depth, but it's enough to help you out. Always read a contract through so that you don't get scammed. It's one of the easiest ways for scammers within New Eden to get away with your hard-earned ISK. You take a bad contract, especially in places like Jita 44, Dodixie, Ren's, Heck, or Amar. You gotta read those contracts because there's a lot of ways that you can get basically screwed over, and we don't want to see that. So read your contracts, guys. Make sure they're legitimate and what you want to do before you click that accept button. So Diego is one of the early adopters, and thank you again, dude, for jumping in on this. It's a great thing. Really appreciate having you on board with this. But you need to, well, you asked me to point out some things within the contract system to help you out. So now there's a couple of ways that you can set up a contract. But first, let's look at the skills you're going to need. So I'm going to open my character sheet here, and it's in the trade menu, as far as I remember. So as you can see, I don't do a whole lot of contracting on my main here. My trade alt has far better contracting skills, but then again, I do a lot more buying and selling on her. So there's a little bit of a difference. So you're going to need contracting, at least level 1 to create a contract. At level 5, you get a maximum of 21 active contracts. There's other skills that will play into it over time, like corporation contracting, so you can do it on behalf of your corporation if you have the permissions. The rest of the skills in here are all about trade, but contracting is what we're looking at right now. So I only have level 2, but I can create a fair number of contracts. Not a really big deal. So now there's two ways to actually go in and set up a contract. There's a quick and dirty way, or there's the more formal way. Let's go over the formal way first. So open our Neocom menu in the top left here. If we go in there and go into our finance menu, we can go to contracts, get you on the contract start page. Again, I can create 9, all that sort of stuff. You can see the contracts issued to and by you over time, and then you can search available contracts within your region, etc., etc., etc. But we're going to go back to the start page, and we're going to create a contract. And we can exit out of that main menu. This is your primary contract window. So now you've got item exchange, auction, courier, public and private, and then you can set the terms for the individual you're trying to transfer to. Item exchange is obviously exchanging items from one person to another. The fees and everything will come up later on, especially when we're doing this video. Auction is to set up an item just like an auction house to be bid on by a lot of people, and the winner after the time that the contract is set for will be the highest bidder in there. And courier contracts are to have someone else transport your stuff from point A to point B. You can set collateral in there, so if the contract is failed, i.e. their ship gets destroyed, they break the package, anything like that, you will be reimbursed that amount of ISK. So think of it like a down payment on the safe arrival of your stuff, and you can set how much ISK you're going to be paying out for a courier contract, usually broken down by jumps. And you have some corporations out there, like the Red Frog family, that use freighters to haul things around. Great service, by the way. It's not an intentional shutout, but I use them a lot, especially Black Frog Freight. But they're the null-sec and low-sec guys that use jump freighters. And they're really awesome. They're reliable. It's great. Not an intentional shutout again, but I do enjoy their services, so if you're in-game and you need it, they have an out-of-client website where you can go and get your stuff transported. It's convenient a lot of the time. But for right now, we're going to do an item exchange. So I'm going to need to go into my contacts first of all, because, well, in my contacts should be the person I'm looking for. Unless I haven't actually added them as a contact on this character. I swear I planned this out, at least more than I usually do. But I know the character I'm going to be sending stuff to. If I could spell, it's my own character, and I can't spell her name. Alright, so this is the character I'm going to be sending it to, my industrial tune. People should know who she is by now. So we're going to drag and drop her name into the box over here. Wow, I swear I can speak. It automatically switched from public to private so that only my alt is going to have access to this contract, which is what we want for here, and it is an item exchange. I'm going to be sending over some of my salvage because I'm working towards building a rig for the project. It's really good. So we can click next and go in through there. What's going to come up is the items menu. So we can take the alloy titanium bars because they're what we're sending over. We're looking for scrap. Yes, we have a lot of stuff in here. So let's just select a few more pieces of the salvage and then we'll go next. Now in this screen, your options are how much you will pay. So how much you're paying to have someone accept this contract. So for example, if you are trying to buy something via contracts, that sort of stuff, like you can set this button right here to request items from the buyer, and that's how you set up basically a buy contract. This would be a sell contract without that option checked. It's just another way to bypass the market overall. You can set up how much you will receive, and that's how much ISK is going to come to you for them accepting this contract, which makes it really easy to sell. So if this was a public contract and you were selling your items, you'd put in how much you want to receive right here, and you can even go by estimated price, which averages the market values for the region you're in. Now the expiration day, how long will it take for this contract to actually expire? So if you set it for 7 days and no one buys it within those 7 days, the contract will expire and cancel itself out. And of course you can put a description in for it. If this was a courier contract, you would also have an option in here for days to complete, which is how long the person who accepts the contract has to complete moving those objects. And you would also have your payment as part of the I will pay part. It's usually broken down per jump for you too as well. We don't need to add anything into here because I'm just transferring over items to my alt. So we'll click next. Now this is the screen you should always read when you're creating, when you're accepting or declining contracts. This will be what the contract looks like when it's up. So it's an item exchange. There's no description, of course. It's private to my alt. Might as well leave that open because I'm going to need it again. Gives you the location it's at, how long it expires in, what the sales tax on it is. There's none because I'm not actually selling an item. Then you also have your broker's fee. It's going to cost me 10,000 ISK to actually create this contract, which isn't bad. How much deposit there is on it, which would be your collateral for moving things. How much I'm paying, how much I'm receiving, again, nothing. And the items that are in there. They say items for sale, but this is just a transfer, so nothing is actually being sold, and no items are required. So we can finish that contract, and it will give you the pop-up, do you really want to create contract? I leave some of my warnings on because I actually enjoy being reminded of some things, especially when it comes to contracts. This is why I say reread your contracts every time you do it. So we'll accept it, and now the contract has been created. So the contract's up and it's ready to go. Now I'm going to show you the other way to select the items that you're going to do that's a little bit more quick and dirty, but it's also faster as we're scrolling through. So these are the other pieces of salvage. So we're just going to select them all as we would do within that individual drop-down menu, and then we can right-click and we can go to Create Contract, and it will bring you up to the same thing. And the process is the same. Set it up as an item exchange if you're doing an item exchange, auction or courier of course, public or private. Again, we're going private to my alt. It'll give you this window again, but we've already selected the items that we're wanting to send out, so all of them are already selected within this window. So we can just click Next. Again, we don't have to change anything in here. It's not a courier contract, so we don't have to set up payments. We don't have to do any of that. So we can just follow through. And again, we can reread it to make sure everything's right. Of course, there's a lot more items this time because this is partially the quicker way to accept items. And then we can click Finish and confirm the contract. So now all of those items are up on a second contract, and I can go over and receive them on my alt. Now, just before we go and close out this incredibly short and basic video, we go back into our contract menu through the Eve Neocom, back in the contracts menu. This is a contract I accepted earlier from Diego. He actually figured it out on his own. Great job, bud. But I'm doing this just to make sure that you've got everything that you need to know. And he sent me a bunch of scrap to help out with our ice rig for the project. Again, I went through everything else and I read the full contract through and I accepted it as it was. And now I've just got this, basically a receipt for a little while until the contract is completely gone. So I don't need to worry about it anymore, but this is where you would come to accept your contracts. They will be listed in here, and you can also go into My Contracts, and while we're here I might as well show you this. Contract type all, issued to or by me, and if it requires attention it'll be up, and then we can go to Get Contracts. Nothing requires attention, but in progress, nothing's in progress, and outstanding. There we go. So both of the contracts that I've already created are now up and we can see them. Again, we can just go by status. So outstanding, in progress, finished, requires attention, bid on by. So if you have an auction for this last one here, the bid on by, that's where you would see any potential bids on your project or your contract, sorry. But that's the very, 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 very basic definition of what the contract system is. So if you like the video, guys, please consider hitting that like button. If you'd like to join in with the 232, just hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn your notifications on so you don't miss when a new video goes out. And the Atreen project is always looking for more people. If you play Eve and want to be part of this, just join the Atreen Universal channel in-game, and you can come and be part of our community. There are no requirements on what you do. All we ask is that you have fun and be sociable with all of our friends that we've been making. So, no requirements, just come have some fun with us. But remember, guys, life is a game, so play to win. And until next time, fly dangerously.